All right. This week's topic of Amuna Mondays is the importance of self-love. The reason I chose this topic was because I was sitting one morning, it was like 3:30 a.m. I'm sitting in my car and I was just like, I need a topic, I need something to think about. And all of a sudden, I don't know where, I saw something that said like V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, like love your fellow as you love yourself. And I was like, whoa, it's kind of pretty deep. So I just decided, 3 a.m. to really dive into it and try to like understand that concept pretty like intensely. And I started looking at it from the aspect of like, love your fellow as you love yourself. It seems that you need to love yourself first in order to love your fellow. Because then what are you basing it off of? You're basing it off of your own love, your self-love. So I was like, okay, yeah, we can work with this. And I was looking at like into it more, and it was even stating the fact of like you need to, in order to really like in finding yourself and in loving yourself, you'll be able to love others through loving yourself, just like connecting to Hashem through the amazing things that go on in the world, whether it's like nature, look at going to the ocean, seeing the way like everything operates, or going to seeing a beautiful flower, seeing animals. Those things normally spark those kind of like wow, the aspect of like wow, Hashem really is like amazing. And the same aspect is when it comes up to yourself, like ourself, when we can look at ourselves and be like, wow, like Hashem created me. And like whatever it is in your life you're doing, whether you're successful, you're not successful, you're wealthy, you're not wealthy, any of those things, it doesn't even matter. But it's the aspect of like you're breaking it down and understanding that it is you are who you are. And it's like a really crazy deep like mindset. And I was like, okay, that comes with self-love, loving yourself, falling in love with yourself. And people are like, oh, what about your ego? Like, like, doesn't that raise your ego? It is a fine line between self-ego, like it's like self-love and ego. Very fine line. It's like when you start, self-love is about, I want to improve myself so that I can help others. I want to just be the best version of myself, love myself so I can love my fellow. But an ego is more like, I want to do this for myself, and you're losing the connecting factor of someone else. So that's how we countered that. So ego and self-love are two total different things. There's a fine line. Both of them acknowledge yourself, but one is you're operating on yourself, working on yourself in order to help others. In other words, loving a fellow as you love yourself. You have to love yourself first, then apply it to others. And then the other end is where it's ego is like, oh, I'm going to do this, but strictly for myself. I'm benefiting. I care. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, maybe other people will benefit down the road, but in this moment, all I'm thinking about is myself. That's what ego is. So yeah, there is that fine line in between that. And many will ask, like, how do you get to where do you even start with self-love? And I think first is acknowledging. You have to acknowledge the fact that you don't spend enough time by yourself. Recognize it. Be like, you know what? Yeah, like I really do surround my entire day around work, or hanging out with friends, or partying, or learning nonstop in a full environment. I think it's important to spend time by yourself. It's extremely important. And I think the first way to start is with acknowledging, being able to be like, you know what? Yeah, I really don't spend enough time by myself. I don't spend any time by myself. And then how do we start it? Application. Start applying it. Be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to take this day. I'm going to take this an hour, a minute, 5 minutes before I go to bed. Whatever time, you're going to start designating time for self-reflection. Sit down by yourself and contemplate whether you want to talk to God directly. You can do that, and like that's definitely, I'd say, an option. But I think an even better option would be is taking the opportunity that's at hand. The opportunity is Shabbat. Shabbat's an amazing opportunity for reflection. I think it's one of the main things that Shabbat has to offer is self-reflection. The fact that you can completely disconnect. Before electronics were even made, Hashem already said Shabbat. Shabbat was already a law. Now it's like, oh, what about now? We have electronics. It doesn't say I can't drive, I can't use my phone. It does. It's very simple. It's very, honestly, it's very clear. Remove it. Disconnect. Complete. Do not use electronics on Shabbat. Don't use this. Why is it like that? Because of the fact of the disconnect. The Hashem already factored in, yeah, there's going to be electronics, there's going to be music, there's going to be this, there's going to be that. All these factors are all distractions from ever facing yourself. And this is like a beautiful thing on the fact of the day is designated for it. Hashem's literally saying, toss it up to me. I handle everything. Finances, this, that, everything. Boom, just keep Shabbat. Keep Shabbat. And on that day, don't worry about a single thing. So that's like the greatest, I think it's the perfect opportunity. If you want to start, you're looking for a way to start. How do I start with self-love? That's the day. Do it on a Shabbat. Sit down. Go for a walk even. By yourself. Go and disconnect. No phone, no watch, no this, no that. And you'll really realize, like, wow, you start falling in love with the nature. You start falling in love with yourself. You start understanding and honestly have those deep thoughts that you've been running away from. And it's just like, you'll be so surprised as to like how it expands and the expansion end of it. All right, so that was pretty much like the wrap up of what this week was. I feel like I actually summed it up fairly quickly, fairly good. If you feel like I missed anything, by all means, message me. Feel free to message me, comment, whatever you want. All right, see you guys next week.